Hey guys, alright? Welcome everyone. We start by seeing a car stopped on a desert road. The driver tries to fix it while his wife waits. Unfortunately, the engine is beyond repair, and now they have to wait for help. Elsewhere, two young women are in their car. The one behind the wheel is named Emily, driving her fast GT Mustang and having fun with her friend named Leslie. The two are coming from Seattle, Washington, and heading to Palm Springs. In a certain place, a young man hitchhikes, and his friend wants to help him, but Emily doesn't stop, saying he might be a killer. Moments later, Leslie, already a little drunk, goes to get more drinks from the back seat, almost causing an accident, but Emily manages to keep the car steady. They continue on the road and talk about life. Emily was betrayed but still stays with her boyfriend, while Leslie says he's not worth her effort. Further ahead, Leslie asks to stop the car because she thinks the road is on the left, as the GPS lost signal kilometers ago. Emily, not knowing either, listens to her friend and goes left. Time passes, and Leslie falls asleep, while Emily drives peacefully on the road. Later, she drives slowly because there's a truck towing a car, and they can't overtake it due to the many curves on the route. Her friend wakes up and, seeing the situation, insists that Emily overtake them because it would only delay them. Emily manages to overtake, and they continue the journey faster. Needing to refuel, they stop at a gas station ahead, and while Leslie goes to the bathroom, the truck arrives. The gas station attendant approaches to refuel her car. Emily was about to see who the truck driver was, but at that moment, the attendant cleans the windshield, blocking her view. She then gets out of the car to get some fresh air, and trying to see the driver again, she can only see his boots. Shortly after, the truck driver watches Emily and Leslie talking for a bit from inside the cabin. Back in the car, Emily is warned that the engine oil is very low, but Leslie, not wanting to delay and be behind that truck again, asks to go quickly. Later, Emily drives more carefully not to strain the engine. Suddenly, she and Leslie are startled when the truck driver suddenly appears at high speed and overtakes their car. Then, going slowly again, the driver signals them to overtake him. This confuses and angers them, as he had just overtaken them. When Emily accelerates to overtake him, a car comes from the opposite direction, almost causing an accident. Emily and Leslie realize that the driver signaled them to overtake on purpose, and that infuriates them. They try to get the tow truck's phone number, but there's no signal in the area. Unable to stand the smoke smell coming from the tow truck, they take advantage of a straight stretch of road and overtake him. However, annoyed by the driver's behavior, Leslie opens the window and throws a glass bottle in front of the truck. After going through that scare with the truck driver, the two calm down and enjoy the ride. However, at a certain moment, the truck appears again and approaches them, getting very close to the back of the Mustang. This makes them fearful, but he only overtakes them again. They wonder what he wanted to prove with all of this when suddenly he starts zigzagging on the road, showing that he won't let them overtake him again. Luckily, there's a small detour next to the road. So, taking a risk, they enter it and accelerate, managing to get ahead of him again. They are happy about it and even relax a bit more, slowing down the car due to the low engine oil. When they notice the truck driver coming behind them once more, approaching again. Emily accelerates her car and tries to leave the tow truck behind, but the deranged driver manages to get close again. Fearing the worst, they accelerate even more and enter a small village by the roadside where two children are playing, almost running over a boy. Then they go to a diner to eat and calm down from the scare, thinking that the trucker had passed them. However, while still sitting at the table, Emily sees the truck stopped behind her car. Trying to stay calm, she looks around and examines the men present to see their boots, which is the only thing she could see of the psycho trucker when they were at the gas station. And she ends up identifying two suspects. Leslie wants to leave, so if they are followed, they'll know who it is and ask him what he wants from them. Emily prefers to wait, as if they start the journey again, she will have to put the Mustang at high speed, risking an accident. Suddenly, one of the suspects, who keeps looking at them, leaves, but he only goes to his car and drives away. Emily, suspicious of the other guy, goes to confront him, telling him to stop his antics. However, he seems not to understand what's going on, and Emily, irritated, throws away his sandwich. This enrages him, and he approaches her aggressively, but fortunately, he doesn't hurt her and leaves. They look at which car he enters and are surprised because he gets into another car, quickly returning to the road. Suddenly, the truck starts, showing them that the driver is not who they thought he was. They run after the truck to confront whoever is driving it, but the driver doesn't stop. Emily and Leslie decide to return to the road, and, further ahead, they see a vehicle, which, already very scared, they think is the truck again, but it's just an ordinary car with a trailer. The driver signals them to pass, they thank him, and they continue. Moments later, they come across the car towed by the truck, stopped in the middle of the road on a bridge. Finding it very strange, they get out of the car and stop the driver who was coming behind them. The man gets out and sees the situation, then says they should move that car. Emily gets in the car while the man pushes it, and Leslie drives their car away, but Emily notices that the steering wheel is stuck. Nonetheless, she stays in the car so that the man can push it, but with the noise of a train passing nearby, she doesn't hear the truck approaching, and when she notices, it's too late. The truck driver pushes Emily's car with her inside until the end of the bridge. Fortunately, she manages to get out of the car in time and quickly gets into her car with Leslie, who now takes over driving. The two are apprehensive, but the truck doesn't give up and soon approaches them again. Leslie doesn't go easy on the accelerator and goes faster, leaving the truck behind. Unfortunately, one of the tires punctures, and they have to stop. The truck approaches, but doesn't stop. Moments later, Emily tries to change the flat tire, but Leslie says they need to get out of there quickly because the trucker is waiting for them further down the road. As he starts to approach, they both run off the road. Unfortunately, Emily trips and hits her head, fainting. When she regains consciousness, she finds part of her friend's clothing, but Leslie is not there. Returning to the car on the road, she discovers that the tire has been changed for her, but there's no sign of Leslie or the truck driver. Furious, thinking that something bad happened to her friend, Emily quickly goes in search of the truck. It doesn't take long for her to find the truck parked on the shoulder. Desperate to find her friend, she gets out of the car and goes towards the danger, calling for Leslie, but there's no response. Then the truck starts moving, not allowing Emily to get closer to it. Emily, frustrated, returns to her car, and the truck driver approaches. When she gets into the car, he goes after her vehicle, making her accelerate again. Moments later, she sees a sign showing that there's a phone nearby. So, she leaves the road and hides in the bushes, evading the truck driver. She goes to the phone, but it's not working. Emily stays calm with the whole situation and decides to wait a little to rest. Some time passes, and suddenly, a scared Leslie arrives, asking to get into her car. Emily questions how she got there so quickly, and Leslie says she came with the truck driver. Then we see the truck coming towards them with the driver inside. Fortunately, it was just a nightmare. It's already night, and Emily decides to return to the road, and once again, the danger haunting her comes back and stays behind her. Emily, unable to believe what's happening, accelerates her car and eludes him again. At a certain point on the road, a police car approaches her, and she stops. Emily gets out of the car and tells the police officer that a stranger kidnapped her friend and is now after her. The officer, not understanding her desperation, tells her to return to her car and provide her identification. When Emily was about to hand over the document, the truck appears out of nowhere and runs over the police officer. Emily is devastated because her only hope was quickly destroyed. The truck returns, and Emily, trying to protect herself, takes the police officer's gun. However, the enemy's vehicle passes her and goes to the police car. The driver gets out, not revealing his identity, and tows the police car. Emily, armed with the dead officer's gun, gets into the car and drives again, fearing the danger returning. In the early hours of the morning, she realizes that the car needs refueling urgently. Moments later, she manages to reach a gas station. However, the man says they have already closed, but she threatens him with the gun to be attended to. Then, Emily goes to a phone booth. The device works, and she calls the emergency services and tells them what's happening, giving her name and where she comes from. The police officer asks her to wait on the line, but the truck comes at high speed towards her, causing her to leave the booth just before it gets destroyed. Emily gets into the car and returns to the road, distraught by experiencing all this. A truck approaches her, and wanting to end this situation, she slows down and points her gun at the vehicle, but it's not the one tormenting her. Emily is relieved, but not for long, as the danger returns. The madman gets closer to her, and this time, he hits her car, leaving her terrified. Desperate, she accelerates and makes the truck in front of her lose control and block the madman's path. The day dawns and, after driving a little, Emily realizes that the oil needs to be changed urgently, but she doesn't have time to think, as her enemy approaches again. At that moment, we catch a glimpse of the appearance of the madman causing all this, a man wearing glasses and a mustache. Emily goes further ahead and decides to turn the car against the truck, and as it approaches, Emily goes towards it. She insists and doesn't get out of the way until the madman swerves to the shoulder. This causes him to head towards a cliff, but he manages to stop before falling. Emily gets out of the car and calls for Leslie. Armed, she approaches the driver and asks where her friend is, but he doesn't respond and doesn't get out of the car. Suddenly, a phone rings, and as she goes back to the car, Emily looks for it and discovers that the sound comes from her trunk. When she goes to look, she finds her dead friend inside. This leaves her desperate because her friend had been with her all along, unfortunately already dead. Filled with fury against the madman, she gets into her car and decides to push the truck that couldn't get out of the mud. The movie ends with Emily doing this, pushing the vehicle down the hill, destroying it, and putting an end to this nightmare. After that, relieved, she returns to the road, finally reaching her destination.